Hello everyone, welcome to 4Media. I've literally just finished editing my final year project for uni, which is a documentary, and I'm going to put it on YouTube now, so I hope you guys like it. I've put loads of hours into editing, filming, so if you like it, make sure you like, share and subscribe, and I'll make sure I make more of these videos in the future. Thank you.
Islam, a word we see every day. It seems everyone has an opinion on the world's most talked about religion. The UK has seen a spike of attacks against Muslims, consisting of acid attacks and violence under the bracket Islamophobic attacks. After the debris settles and terrorists commit their despicable crimes, who are the real victims? Ateeb Hussain is a 20-year-old British Muslim who has experienced firsthand what it feels to be a victim of Islamophobia. Ateeb considers himself a victim of terrorist attacks.
I feel I am collateral damage.
Manchester, 22nd of May 2017. Ariana Grande is performing at the Manchester Arena. 14,200 fans enjoying a concert doesn't seem too offensive, but to Islamic extremists, a perfect opportunity.
Manchester police have warned people to stay away from Manchester Arena as officers respond to what they're describing as an incident amid reports on social media of some kind of explosion.
Oh my God.
Just 11 days later, Ateeb was searched for the first time in his life.
Obviously I was working in Bradford over the summer. I had a paid job and I thought I'd stay here, make some money. I was also doing film work on the side for experience. And I think it was a Sunday, it was about 30 degrees, it was one of the hottest days of the year. And I decided to go to a shop to get some ice cream and ice lollies to cool myself down.
Excuse me, mate.
And 2 minutes later, a security guard came up to me, and what he said just shocked me. He said to me,
"Could you empty your pockets for me, please?"
What do you mean? Why?
I've reason to believe you may have suspicious material on you.
What are you on about? I just came to get some ice cream.
Okay.
a lot of customers as well who had stopped to watch what was taking place, and I felt really embarrassed because everyone was looking at me as if I was doing something quite bad, maybe like, I don't know what they were thinking, maybe terrorists. And it was such a one of those moments where you feel victimized, you feel like you're alone in your own world and everyone's against you kind of thing.
Ateeb spoke to Paul Rogers of Peace Studies at the University of Bradford to learn why anti-Islamic attacks have increased.
I think one has to understand that most of the world's great religions have elements within their midst who will be very radical, very extreme. We've seen how the Rohingya in Burma, Muslims have actually been persecuted by Buddhists. You see elements of extremism in Christianity and Judaism. So it is not peculiar to Islam alone. What has brought it to the fore, I think, very much, is the activity of the Al-Qaeda group in the late 1990s, leading up to 2001 to 9/11, and since then, the very strong Western reaction, going to war in Iraq and Afghanistan and Libya and elsewhere, which in turn has roused some people within the Islamic world to see that they are under attack and they are retaliating. And so you saw the growth of Al-Qaeda in the early part of this century, and most particularly the development and growth of ISIS over the last 5 years in Syria and in Iraq, of course. So you have this situation in which these groups are partly reactive, but partly represent one very distorted, very warped version of one of the world's great religions. And you have to recognize where they're coming from if you stand any chance of actually controlling them. You cannot defeat ideas militarily. They have to be defeated and shown that they are not good ideas in the first place. any anti-Islamic feeling or action, any hatred, is playing into the hands of groups like ISIS. This is what they want. So the message will be, work as hard as you can for community relations, recognise that people from the Islamic communities are absolutely have the right to be citizens within Britain and make a very strong contribution to wider culture. And thirdly, I think within Islam itself, there is a need to stand up much firmly for what Islam is really about. And to not to fall into the trap of in any way trying to condone what a group like ISIS is doing, but really demonstrate very strongly in mosques and elsewhere that this is not true Islam. If you put those together and we can hold on to good community relations, then groups like ISIS will not have their way. Otherwise, I think we do face a very difficult future.
Despite the government's best efforts to prevent or to slow the increase of Islamophobic attacks, Ateeb was found in an even worse situation, this time on his way home from work.
So I just finished my final day of work for the summer, and the next morning I was heading home to enjoy my final few weeks with my family before I returned back for university. And I pulled up at a traffic light at about 10 o'clock. The red light was on for about 30-40 seconds. There was 3 or 4 other cars on the side and behind me, and 3 teenagers who were about 17, 18 years old started crossing the road.
Look at that ISIS terrorist bastard. You packy bastard. You're a cunt to us, mate. Why do you just fuck off to your own country?
And I didn't say anything back, I just sat there quietly, and I thought the other drivers might have responded. I looked to the side and the other drivers, they just like took no notice of it, they drove off. So obviously when you're in that situation, it does make you feel alone.
Ateeb wanted to speak to a member of the Islamic Theology Society at the university to find out their take on the situation.
Well, the hate crimes that are occurring in the UK and around the world is something that's really deeply saddening and does hurt us a lot, because we're Muslims and we're the same people who walk the streets, the same people who live in the same houses, go to the same shops, do the same things and work the same jobs, yet for some reason we're seen as different, or as people who can be radicalized, or people who are out of society, and they make Islam seem as something that's not. That doesn't work with people, that doesn't work with society, whereas Islam integrates a lot, and it is a peaceful society, a peaceful religion, and no one, no matter what their race, religion, ethnic background, personal beliefs, or where they come from or what they do, they shouldn't be persecuted just for those reasons.
At the Islamic Theology Society we have many events which tackle this issue. For example, last year we had an event called Challenging ISIS, where Dr. Ateeb Hussain al-Azhari they came and they explained why ISIS, the ideology, is completely not what Islam preaches. And in that event we had a lot of non-Muslims attend, and they were very amazed at the Sheikh and how he explained everything and how ISIS doesn't represent Islam.
For example, like in the past 1400 years, there's been peace. There hasn't been these problems. It's only recently that these problems have surfaced, and it's all about. It's not really about theology and ideology. It's about the hatred, that the anger is not even a part of Islam. And no matter what group they are or sect, that isn't Islam. That shouldn't be nowhere near. Like, religion teaches tolerance, peace, kindness, love, and Prophet ﷺ, there's a saying that he said that Islam is mercy, and if you see it as anything else, no, it's not Islam.
A few months after the attack, Ateeb returned to university. After attending a lecture, he returned back to his dorm to receive a harrowing message from a roommate.
So I returned back to uni and I started to attend my first few lectures. And after one of my lectures, I returned back to my dorm. And I found my roommate outside of his room, and he said to me,
"Bro, are you Ateeb?"
"Yeah."
"The police came looking for you."
"The police? What do they want?"
"I don't know, they gave me a number, they want you to call them."
So I was a bit confused. So I rang the police.
Yeah, I was told to call this number. My name's Ateeb Hussain.
Mr. Hussain, can I ask where you are?
Yeah, well, I was at university, but I'm back in my dorm now.
Okay, stay where you are. I need to go and speak to you. I'll be there shortly. Okay?
Right, okay.
They immediately came to my room.
Mr. Hussain?
Yeah?
I'm Detective Wilson. From the Anti-Terrorism Unit. Can I come in?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
And they said to me that
We've had a call from a student from this university, and it's about you, specifically about the way that you reacted to a video during an election in January this year. They're worried that you might have links with ISIS.
What? ISIS? You can't be serious, man.
I know it might seem a bit strange.
No, I mean, I'm the most anti-ISIS person I know. I mean, who made this call?
I can't reveal any names, but it's the way that you laughed at a certain point in this video.
Laughing? I mean, someone actually thinks I'll be involved with ISIS, a group that kills innocent people, kids. I mean, that's disgusting.
I know you might be upset, but having come and had a chat with you now, I can say that you're not somebody that we need to concern ourselves about.
I can't believe someone actually thinks that. I was raised by, you know, my mum told me that Islam is about accepting other people and living with other races. Someone actually thinks that I would work with someone, with groups that did that.
it's sad that I had to prove myself to the police that I'm not one of these people. I was shell-shocked.
Ateeb has since continued his day-to-day life, but the question is now more relevant than ever. Are British Muslims the collateral damage of Islamic extremism?
You know, I think I'm a pretty normal guy. I go to university, study film. Outside of university, I like to make my own films that I put on my YouTube channel. And I also pray, but I don't think that's anything to brand me a terrorist, and I think it's pretty sad that anyone can throw an accusation at a person because of the way they look and the background that they're from.